Welcome to Truck Chat, an interview series coming to you from Work Truck. I'm Lauren Fletcher, executive editor of Work Truck, and today we're here to find out how CEI is working to help fleets increase driver safety and overall safety-related insight. But before we get started, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to check out our podcast series on Spotify, Apple, and Google. Today's episode is sponsored by CEI, and chatting with me is Brian Kinniry, CEI's leader for product innovation and technology integration. With nearly 20 years of industry experience, including strategic account services and management of risk and safety solutions, Brian leverages his deep knowledge of client needs and advancing technologies to develop new products and services that deliver increased value to fleet and risk managers. Welcome, Brian.
Hi, Lauren. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad to have you. So let's get started with a hot topic. Driver safety is incredibly important to work truck fleets. What are some of the driver safety related trends you're seeing right now?
Well, while we continue to see still a deployment of different training methods, right? Online training, behind the wheel training, still utilized, say, in a broad brush approach where fleets will push out the training in a proactive manner across the entire organization. What we're really starting to see is more of a micro-targeted focus at the driver level. And that comes from integrating various data inputs, such as either collision history, continuous MVR monitoring, and really with the advances in technology, everyday behavior events that are collected from telematics type devices that are related to safety performance. So what we're seeing is customers are wanting to have this information into a single platform so they can do proper risk analysis and proactive measures. I would say the day of just running a motor vehicle record and pushing out online training are considered, in considering that a legitimate safety program, are long gone. We're seeing a lot more utilization of different data inputs now to really make good assessments in terms of how drivers are performing out there.
So things have gotten a little bit more complex.
Absolutely. With complexity comes opportunity, though. And what we found is, we have various solutions where we can utilize some of this complexity to turn into opportunities for our customers to really drive behavior change.
So related to this topic, I know CEI offers DriverCare, a suite of products focused on driver safety. Can you give me a quick overview of this program?
Absolutely, I would love to, and thanks for asking about DriverCare. I mean, our cornerstone product under the DriverCare brand is called DriverCare Risk Manager. And this combines various data inputs into one application. It's basically a driver behavior modification tool that identifies high-risk drivers according to our customers' fleet policies, and it will automatically remediate the driving behavior through policy enforcement. It manages compliance as well as delivers, targeted driver training and communications with the ultimate objective of reducing collisions. Look, no doubt about it, right? The workforce today is being tasked with doing more with less. And DriverCare Risk Manager removes that administrative burden for our customers of having to facilitate the various components of a fleet safety program. And it does all this with a proven solution to reduce collisions.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I heard recently that DriverCare CoPilot is one of the new additions to this suite of products. Can you share some details about this solution?
Absolutely. DriverCare CoPilot is a new product. It can be implemented as a standalone safety solution, or it can complement DriverCare Risk Manager, which I just explained. Basically, it utilizes, say, a mobile device, such as a phone, to collect driver trip data and safety events, such as hard braking, acceleration, cornering, speeding, and really, most importantly, because the phone is the device, it can collect information regarding phone distraction. So the driver is pretty much provided with an overall performance score, as well as category scores for each of the areas I just mentioned. And the scores made over a 2-week period of time, a rolling 2-week period of time. And what we like about the solution is that it's really about transparency to the driver. It provides them with the ability to proactively self-correct their behaviors, be a very user-friendly mobile interface and scoring system. It also includes gamification aspects where drivers can see kind of where their score ranks within the fleet. They can see where their score ranks within their team leaderboards. And they can also, gives opportunities for recognition, right, from leadership. Instead of the traditional stick approach that we often see deployed within fleet safety programs. Through the scoring methodology, we see it as an opportunity for customers and for leaders to really encourage safe driving by recognizing those that are doing the right thing. But most importantly, I would say what we're super excited about with this product is that it arms our customers essentially with the ability to combat phone distraction. Through its detection capabilities of phone interaction. And what we found through deployment of this is that customers that deploy this out to the fleet, within 30 days, they're seeing a 35% reduction in phone distraction. And that's really back to that self-accountability standpoint. That's not even necessarily revolving some of the coaching and other things that are involved with this. This is by drivers getting visibility into seeing how often they may interact with their phone while the vehicle's in motion and self-correcting those behaviors. We solve some of the challenges as well when it comes with DriverCare CoPilot, when it comes to mobile technologies such as collecting this behavior. One of those is today, I know there's solutions out there that don't necessarily know when the driver's in the fleet vehicle, so it may record trips, outside of the fleet vehicle. DriverCare CoPilot is able to solve this with an optional component called a tag. And this is essentially what a tag is here. Again, it's optional. It's basically like a sticker that gets placed in the vehicle. And essentially the phone can pair up with that tag and will only record trips for a driver when it notices the tag is in the vehicle. So if the tag is not in the fleet vehicle, it's not going to record trips for the driver. Again, it's an optional piece of hardware, but for us, it helps with the challenge that fleets sometimes have when it comes to these sort of solutions in identifying the driver and who's driving the specific vehicle at that time.
I love it. I think, two words that you mentioned really stand out to me right now, which is, transparency. I think with drivers so concerned still with Big Brother and being watched, being able to see what's going on and what data they're providing is huge for them. And visibility for the fleet managers to be able to see what those drivers are doing. I think those two things go really hand in hand. Now, I understand you guys didn't stop with Copilot, but you also launched DriverCare Connect. Can you share a little bit about how that's helping gain visibility into driver behaviors?
Absolutely. Kind of combines the two things I just mentioned. So I started out talking about DriverCare Risk Manager, right, which is our cornerstone solution with integrating various data components. And then Copilot, which talked about these proactive behaviors that can be identified, right, braking, speeding, acceleration. So DriverCare Connect allows us to integrate these safety behavior events, like I just mentioned with Copilot, braking, acceleration, speeding, and so forth, through various types of telematics solutions, though, not just necessarily through the mobile device. We're able to integrate data from, say, traditional OBD port solutions, as well as advancements with getting the data directly from OEM solutions. So the ability to do this then allows us to combine all this information into DriverCare Risk Manager. Essentially, that's what DriverCare Connect does. And it takes the proactive behaviors, as I just mentioned, takes collision data, it takes continuous MVR monitoring information, really to provide, I would call it the most powerful fleet safety solution on the planet when it comes to reducing collisions, injuries, and ultimately the goal being bringing folks home safely every day to their families. I mean, the combination of all this data and being able to utilize it in terms of policy enforcement, as well as gamification and proactive coaching for drivers is really turning safety upside down when it comes to fleets and being able to really look at it at a different approach.
That's awesome. And bringing this all together, what improvements can work truck fleets expect from the use of DriverCare as a suite of safety solutions?
Well, I can tell you with 100% confidence, right? They can expect to see much fewer collisions, injuries, and therefore cost with the deployment of solutions such as this. In addition to that, I mentioned earlier, reduction in the administrative burden that often comes with implementing some of these programs. So it removes all of that. So that's what fleets could expect. In fact, we forecast a very conservative number that, over a 3-year period, customers should expect to see a 20% plus reduction of collision rate. There's been such advancements in safety over the years where 20% even was kind of low-hanging fruit years ago when customers didn't necessarily have safety policies in place. But it's evolved so fast over the last 5 or 10 years where safety is a focus for fleets and customers have traditionally had reductions in collisions. But we feel by combining these technologies, we can even reduce it even more. So conservative target of a customer could expect a 20% reduction at the very least when it comes to reducing collisions. And that also allows for, as I said earlier, a more productive sales force, while ensuring that safety is encouraged, as well as social responsibilities when it comes to within our own communities when it comes to safe driving behavior and so forth.
I love it. Thank you, Brian. I really appreciate your time today.
Likewise, Lauren, thank you so much.
And thanks to all of you who tuned in to today's episode of Truck Chat, sponsored by CEI. For more info on CEI and the suite of safety and other fleet-related offerings, check out the links below and be sure to subscribe to Truck Chat so you don't miss an episode. Thank you.